this time of year, January, February timeframe. I assume because people are have New Year's resolutions to save money and manage their bills and maybe finally make that switch to streaming and get rid of their massive cable bills. So there's always a great turnout in the beginning of the year for this class. It's good to see it tonight. As Ben said, my name is George Kontos. I am one of the co-founders of Marshmallow Streaming. We started all the way back in 2019, and we've had the pleasure of working with the Mount Prospect Library since I'd say winter of 2020. So coming up on 6 years here. It's been great teaching this class. We do it a few times a year. The material hasn't changed too much, which is kind of good because technology does move fast, but the material here is has been very foundational all these years. Um, a few things I wanted to go over with the class. Uh, this is this is meant to be a very educational experience, not like selling of our services or anything like that. The class it's meant to be for DIY. So many people have taken this class and have gone on and made the switch to streaming themselves. They didn't necessarily have to hire us or do anything like that. It's also meant for people that just want some general information of what's out there, or some that are just like completely blank slate and want to do it themselves, but just don't have any knowledge at all. So we try to cover a wide range of an audience here. I will be stopping every 2 or 3 slides to ask for questions. You can go ahead and submit the questions into the chat, and then Ben will field them through and we'll talk it all together. My rules with questions is number one is there's no such thing as a dumb question. And number two, please ask questions because the question that you have is probably the same question that 50% of the rest of the class has. So, and really almost nothing's off the table as long as it's somewhat in scope of the class. Um, at the end of the presentation, I'll give you all of our contact information, and you can use that contact information to reach out to us if you want a copy of the slides. So they will be available to you for free. So I like to start out with a little bit of background about our business and how we got started and how this whole class came to be. So basically, back in the December of 2018, I was over at my in-laws' house, who live in Mount Prospect, and they were paying $240 a month for their cable bill. So they had internet, they had cable TV, and they had a landline they didn't even know what to do with anymore, didn't even want it anymore. And simply they felt stuck. They didn't know they had any other options. They had been Comcast customers for well over a decade, probably close to 2 decades. And they just didn't know that there was really any other better options or just other options in general to get internet and TV. And yet they were paying $240 a month. Their internet and Wi-Fi wasn't great. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't as good as it should be for that price. And they had a bunch of channels they didn't even, watch or care about, but that's just what the package was. When I saw that bill, I was absolutely shocked. I didn't realize that a cable bill could get that high because for me, growing up, illegally downloading music and ripping CDs and basically using the internet to do whatever I can to pay as little or nothing as possible to watch everything that I want to watch, and what my generation does as well. I just couldn't fathom someone was paying $240 a month for internet and TV services. So I pulled out a quick spreadsheet and I told my father-in-law, I was like, look, you're paying $240 a month. I can get your monthly bill down to $100 a month for internet and TV. And the upfront cost to make the switch will be less than 6 months to buy some products so we didn't have to rent equipment from the cable company and pay monthly rental fees. And I wasn't charging him any labor to do any of this either. He greenlit the project real quick. So I got to work. I ran out to Best Buy, grabbed a bunch of products, home Wi-Fi system and streaming devices, set everything up, set up all the services, showed them how to use it, and then dealt with Comcast so they didn't have to. So I returned all the equipment, canceled TV, canceled the landline, and negotiated the best rate possible for internet service at their house. Everything worked out. They were happy. I enjoyed doing the work so much. Soon enough, I started getting calls and emails from friends and family. In the beginning of 2019, I helped 9 people cut the cord. make the switch to streaming. And those 9 people saved over $12,000 in the year of 2019. And that 12,000 included the upfront cost to make the switch. So even after the upfront cost, they still saved over $12,000 combined. I started getting more calls, more emails from people I didn't know. I just had loved doing the work so much. So that's when in the summer of 2019 started Marshmallow Streaming, which is a service that at the time and still to this day, we help people do this, switch from cable or satellite TV over to streaming. The goals are to save as much money as possible without compromising on the quality of the service. And since then, we've grown to do so many other things like TV, audio, and video, home security, smart home, and we work with businesses as well in this space. But the bread and butter and what we're best known for is this switching over to streaming. So, again, thank you for coming out tonight. I'm very much looking forward to teaching this class and going through all the fascinating things about how you can switch to streaming and save a whole ton of money in the process. So I like to start out with a couple definitions here. I probably used these already, or you've heard these coming into this class already. So the first is cord cutting. What is cord cutting? So we define it as removing cable or satellite TV service in favor of streaming services or over-the-air broadcast TV. What is streaming? So streaming is getting live TV, including news, sports, shows, and movies, as well as on-demand videos and music over an internet connection. Today we're going to be focusing on videos, not music, but when you stream music like Apple Music or Spotify or Sirius Radio, like that is streaming. This is what we're going to go through and build today. It's a streaming solution as we define it and what we set a lot of our customers up with. And a streaming solution is made up of these main components. First, you have your internet service. So you have an internet service provider or an ISP. They deliver access to the internet at a certain speed for a monthly price. And we'll go over the different providers out there and what things to look for. You have your home Wi-Fi system. This creates a secure network in your home for all your devices to connect to and access the internet. So when you go home, or if you go in a coffee shop and you see the Wi-Fi network, you see the Wi-Fi name, you select it, and you put in your password, you're connecting to the Wi-Fi network. If a home, it's a home Wi-Fi network. Then you have streaming devices. So these are devices that connect your home Wi-Fi network to access the internet, and then through that, they're accessing all the streaming services. And then finally, you have the streaming services. So these are services that deliver content over an internet connection, which can include live TV, on-demand videos, and music. So these services load on those devices, you access them, and then you're able to enjoy all of that content. This is our playbook. This is what we did on day one, all the way back in 2018 to this very day, these 3 steps, and that's what we're going to open this up to you and something you can certainly do yourself. The first step is getting down to internet only. My rule of thumb is you should only pay for internet service from your internet provider, not really TV and landlines or even home security. Just get internet. There's an argument to be made for bundling mobile, but as far as like other types of services, media services, just stick with internet only. What does that involve? You're going to cancel your cable or satellite TV service and return all the rental equipment. Step 2 is installing a home Wi-Fi system. Basically, whether you're streaming or working from home or virtual learning, like we're doing this class right now, you want to have a robust Wi-Fi system in your house. So make sure you have strong Wi-Fi coverage and fast speeds throughout your entire home for all your devices. And then finally, step 3 is setting up the streaming devices and services so you can subscribe to those streaming services and enjoy the content on all your devices. Before we go on, any questions so far?
No questions in the chat yet.
Thanks, Ben. Going down to internet only. So here in the Chicagoland area, these are generally the internet providers, the main internet providers that you're going to see in any given area. So starting from left to right, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T Air. These are all wireless internet providers. So as you could probably notice, those are also the major cell phone providers. Um, they provide wireless internet service that you from the home you connect to their towers wirelessly, and that's how you can access the internet. AT&T DSL, this is the old digital subscriber line, but is a lot of people still have it. You could still get it if you want. It is essentially the telephone line internet that's generally significantly slower than the other options out there. Astound, formerly RCN, if you were in the city, and Huawei out here in the suburbs, those two companies combined to create Astound. Then you have Xfinity, who's the parent company is Comcast, and then AT&T has fiber service, fiber internet. So different types. You have wireless to cable to fiber, internet speeds, basically going from left to right. You're going to go from slower to faster, with fiber being the fastest type of internet available, if it is available in your area. If you notice with pricing, though, the good news is like as the speed goes up, it's not like the pricing jumps significantly. It's not like if twice the speed, you're paying double the price. So that's one good thing about the internet industry there. Bringing your own modem. This is the device that connects and registers to the internet. Uh, with some of these like AT&T and Verizon, you can't bring your own, which isn't a huge deal. But if you want to have your own, certain providers like Astound and Xfinity have that. And then as far as unlimited data, finally, almost all these providers are coming around to just giving you unlimited data, just like with cell phone companies, and not charging you for going over and having overage fees. They're starting to finally catch up and work with each other well. There's three things to keep in mind when you're shopping for internet service. So first, you have to keep in mind that this is an industry. Internet service isn't a utility. It's not like water or gas or electric or garbage collection. It's just like any type of subscription. You could be paying a lot of money compared to what your neighbor is for the exact same service. So, shop around. One thing I recommend to everybody, especially who takes this class, regardless if you're going to stream or not, find out what your internet speed is and what you're paying. If you don't know, check your bill or, go online on your app. If you can't find it on your bill, sometimes that's a red flag. You want to make sure you know what you're paying for because we see it all the time. People way overpay for speeds they don't need, or they're overpaying for the speeds they can't even get due to other factors. Or their speeds are so slow and um, they don't even realize that they're that low. But the three things to keep in mind here is internet service is measured in megabits per second, Mbps. Speed is what matters, so don't get caught up in any type of like marketing lingo, like this is our blast or our super fast or connect more or anything like that. Know what the speed is. And then rule of thumb, how much speed do you need? Our rule of thumb is 50 to 100 megabits per person in the household, and then round up. That may seem very slow, but I'll go into why it's not that slow. Um, in general, this chart here, these are some price points you should see. Probably 80% at least of the customers that we work with, they fall right in this 300 megabit speed range in the $50 plus or minus for internet. And if you're taking this class, this is really where you should be at in the $40 to $60 a month range. It's going to support 2 to 3 people in the home watching TV, doing whatever, no problem. I have plenty of customers where there's 4 or 5 people in the household, and 300 megabits serves them just fine. I want to visit this link here that I found. It's very helpful. It's called "How Much Speed Do You Need?" From Consumer Reports, and this is especially important because when you go to if you go to pretty much any internet service provider, they're trained to oversell you on speed. They're going to say, and maybe you've been asked this before, oh, how many people in the home? How many devices do you have? You have 7 devices. Well, you're going to need at least 800 megabits per second. That is the biggest, I don't know, sales tactic, marketing tactic I've ever seen. That's so unhinged from the truth. Um, you truly don't need as much speed as you need. And we could share this link afterwards, but let's say you have these things going on in your house. All right, we're doing a video call right now. Notice that a video call, like the Zoom call, you only need 4 megabits of internet speed, megabits per second of internet speed. So now that'll fluctuate, but you can only download so much video or upload so much video. So you don't need a gig, 1,000 megabits per second to run video calls. Let's say you have a couple cameras and a doorbell. Notice that really didn't go up too much. Cameras and doorbells, they're just sending and receiving a video feed. It's not like downloading large files or anything like that. So you don't need that much speed for that. You're streaming video, you have two, three TVs that uses a little bit more, but notice it's not like 100 megabits per second per TV or anything. If you're doing a little social media, you're sending some emails, which is really barely nothing. Someone's gaming. But basically, if you see here, like you can have a lot of devices doing a lot of things, and I'm not even hitting the 100 megabit threshold. Now, I still use a rule of thumb of 50 to 100 per person in the household because internet speeds do fluctuate. And at times, if you need to download a large file or you're downloading a large Netflix movie or something like that, it might be a little bit more convenient to have that extra speed. But month to month, to pay an extra 30, 40, $50 a month for speed you don't need is totally unnecessary. Oops. When you figure out the speed that you need, you're basically going to be doing two things. You're going to call or go into the store of your cable provider, and you'll cancel all the services except internet, and then negotiate a better rate. And then you're going to return all the rental equipment. This is huge. So if you look on your bill, I have seen people pay 30, 40, 50, upwards of $60 a month just in rental equipment, renting cable boxes, renting modem routers for internet. And it really adds up. I mean, this is even an old screenshot, excuse me, but this is 3 TV boxes and internet equipment, and they're renting for $50 a month. Uh, and we'll go into this more about how the upfront cost can really pay itself back. A lot of times, too, the rental equipment that you have, it's been released, it's been repurposed, and it can fall out of date pretty quickly. So, just on rental equipment alone, you can save a ton of money. Any questions so far in this first step on going down internet only, or just anything that we've gone over so far? Always happy to go back to different slides.
No questions so far.
Thanks, man. Okay, excuse me. So now we're down to internet only. Got the speeds that you need at the right price. Now it's time to install a home Wi-Fi system. So as you recall, there's actually three main parts of a Wi-Fi system. First, you have your internet service provider. They're delivering you speeds as certain or deliver service at a certain speed for a monthly price. Then you have your modem. So your modem registers with your ISP. Modems are rated for certain speeds and types of internet service. Remember, we have cable internet, fiber internet, wireless. Those are different types of modems. Thing to note with a modem, and this goes back to knowing what you're paying for internet speed. Modems are rated for certain speeds. So I've seen it before where someone's paying for 800 megabits per second, but their modem is only rated for 300 megabits per second. So it's just money down the drain every month that they're not getting. So not only know what your internet speeds are, but make sure your modem can support that. And then finally, your router. So the Wi-Fi router that connects to the modem, it creates a secure network in your home, and all of your devices connect to the router. They don't connect to the modem, they connect to the router. This question gets brought up often. I do recommend separating the modem from the router. as opposed to doing a modem router combo. That way, when things go wrong, or let's say there's a power, if things go wrong, is it the modem or is it the router? If it's jammed into one box, sometimes that could be tricky to troubleshoot. If it's separated, you can isolate the problem. Two, if there's power surge or a component goes bad, if it's a modem router combo that goes bad, well, now your whole network is done for. You have to replace that device and reconfigure your Wi-Fi name and password and re-register it. If only one of those devices goes bad, like the modem goes bad, then you just swap out the modem and your network stays intact. And the third main reason is it allows you to switch internet providers. So if you're with Comcast today and you separate the modem from the router and AT&T fiber becomes available tomorrow, they can come in and now you're just swapping out a modem and your network stays intact. You don't have to reconfigure a bunch of things. Just my personal preference and recommendation. One more note on Wi-Fi systems. So it kind of used to be, going back, within 10 years or so, you'd have a Wi-Fi router. It'd be a standalone device, oftentimes have a bunch of goofy antennas coming out of it. And that was kind of it. It had maybe 1,500 square feet, but you had walls, 1,500 square feet of coverage. The walls would play into that. And then later on, if you need to boost or extend your signal because you're at a dead zone, you try to put these little boosters or extenders and create a separate network, and it'd be kind of convoluted and not work well. Within the past 10 years, a new type of product has come out specifically for the home called mesh Wi-Fi. We use these almost exclusively, probably 99% of our installs. What they are, they're made up of these mesh points. They just plug into a wall outlet. You place them throughout the home. They communicate with one another wirelessly, or they can be hardwired, but oftentimes it's usually wireless. And they broaden the Wi-Fi coverage, they eliminate dead zones, and they allow you to handle more devices, which is very helpful, especially as over time we've had more devices in the home, smart thermostats and cameras and locks and all things like that. So I do recommend a mesh Wi-Fi system. The nice thing is you don't have to go out and get like a three-pack. You can just get one single device, and maybe that's all you need. But if you find out you need a second or a third, then you can just add on as needed.
We
Any
have
question? Yeah.
oh, yeah, sorry. There's a question in the chat. What internet speed should you have to eliminate buffering?
Yeah, so there's never going to be a speed that would eliminate buffering. So what is buffering? That's, you go to load something and it's not really loading, or you get the spinning wheel because it's like downloading the data in chunks and it's waiting for it to load for you to play. Um, you could have the fastest internet speed available, but if your equipment isn't great, your modem, your router, and your internet service, then it's not going to be um, you won't be able to eliminate the buffering. So what I recommend is that's why I use the rule of thumb for number of people in the home for internet speed, and then make sure you have a robust modem and a robust router. And that's all those links in the chain is going to help you reduce or nearly eliminate buffering. Any other questions, Ben?
No, we're good.
Cool. Great question, though. Thank you. Okay. We got we got our internet service ready to go, a robust Wi-Fi system. Now it's time to get into streaming. So some frequently asked questions that we get all the time. You will need one streaming device per TV, unless you want to use a smart TV. We'll talk about the differences there. A streaming device typically outperforms the smart TVs when it comes to loading apps and navigating around and things like that. On the TV or TVs you use the most, it's best to put a premium streaming device to get the best experience possible. And we're going to go over the differences between what we call a basic and a premium one. And then finally, you can mix and match streaming device brands in your home. And this decision simply comes down to, what's your budget? How much do you want to spend up front? And what type of experience do you want to have? Do you want to have all the TVs look and feel the same remotes? Or are you okay with some mixing and matching? There's I lump streaming devices into three categories when it comes to TVs. You got your basic, your premium, and then you have your smart TVs. Basic devices, they're great. They're very low cost, less than $50. You can turn nearly any TV into a smart TV. Like truly anything after like 2005. A TV as old as like 2005, 2006. You plug one of these devices in, and all of a sudden it's a smart TV. The cons is they're going to be slower than a premium device, shorter like lifespan in terms of like feeling relevant. Premium devices, these are the fastest, highest performing option. The cons, they're higher price, so about double or triple the price of a basic device, but you will notice the difference. In fact, let me go on to smart TVs really quick. Then finally, smart TVs, the pros, you have the convenience of an all-in-one product. Almost every TV is smart these days. You buy it, you plug it in, you connect it to your internet, and then away you go and you can download apps and watch things. You don't need any other equipment necessarily. The cons, they do run slower than a premium device. I found them to have more issues. They're always the ones that have the less support, or they lose support for apps the quickest, and the last ones to get updates for applications. And then comes the mixing and matching problem. Like if you have a Sony TV and then a Vizio and then a Samsung, like they're all going to look and feel different, different remotes. Whereas if you have streaming devices and you pick all the same brand, it'll look all the same. When we install a brand new state-of-the-art smart TV, we still put a premium device on it because it's just going to outperform that smart TV.
We have a few questions in the chat here.
Mhm.
So number one is, do you have any preferred products for modem and mesh systems?
Yeah, so great question. Modems, I've typically stuck with Aris, pictured here, Arris. Netgear makes a great modem as well. And then for mesh Wi-Fi, for geez, almost pretty much 6 years now, I have stuck almost exclusively with Eero. We have over, we have almost probably 800 households that we manage that are running Eero. So we've installed literally thousands of individual Eero mesh points. And I've probably had to replace because they like physically went bad, had to replace maybe five of them. I mean, it's excellent track record, very intuitive, easy to use, and works well. I mean, we've had from 800 square foot condominiums to I don't know, like 10,000 square foot mansions. We've used Eero, so those are the two that I recommend.
Great. And then another question is someone's asking if you've heard anything about the brand name TP-Link for router mesh network being banned by the federal government. Have you heard anything about this?
That is news to me. I will look that up after this. I know of the brand TP Link. I haven't used it, but I, I would imagine it has something to do with their chips coming from some country that we don't want to do trade with or something like that.
Okay, great. And then last question. I think you'll get to this later, but someone's asking what are brands of premium streaming services. I think you might touch on that later. So,
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna hit that right after we cover devices, but great question. So these are the pretty much the major streaming devices out there. Uh, Going from left to right, I do feel from almost 7 years of experience working with all these devices, interfacing them with them, I do feel from left to right, you're going from good to best in terms of performance, reliability, just general support and feature set. Starting from left to right, Amazon, they have their Fire TV line. They have Fire Sticks, Fire Cubes, and they make smart TVs as well. Roku, they have their Roku sticks, their Roku Ultra, which is like that little box pictured there. Google, they have a device called the Google TV. And then Apple. So Apple has their own TV device called the Apple TV, not to be confused with Apple TV Plus, their streaming service. Apple does have their own dedicated hardware. Price point, as you can see, the Fire Sticks and the Rokus and Google, they're all in that On the stick end, you can get as low as $20, but basically you're in that $100 plus or minus range. Apple TV, they have two main models that are 129 and 149. Performance, again, the way I measure performance is how fast can it load applications, navigate around, fast forward, rewind, all the basic foundational things you want to do really, really well when you're watching TV and Netflix and things like that. I do find Apple to significantly outperform the other ones. Remote control, the great thing is all these come with remote controls. They control your TV power and volume. They have voice commands for search and command and control. Excuse me. And then they're battery powered. Uh, Apple has Apple's remote is rechargeable. Roku does have a rechargeable remote, and I have to double check if Google and Amazon have, have gotten to the rechargeable point. Connectivity. So these are how these devices connect to the internet. The sticks over here, they can only connect wirelessly, but the premium devices, so Apple, Google, and the Roku Ultra and the Fire, they can, if you have the setup for it, they can be hardwired to your network for faster speed and reliability. So that's another boost of using a premium device is you have the capability to hardwire it, which will just boost the overall performance and reliability and reduce chances of buffering. These are the user interfaces. So when you turn on the TV, this is what you're going to see. The general theme, very similar to like your phone or tablet, home screen with your apps on there. Then you navigate to the apps, and then the apps will show you all the content available in that app. In the upper left, here's Amazon Fire TV. This is the Roku screen, Google TV, Google Android TV, and then the upper right is Apple TV. Feedback that we've gotten, which is why we've generally shifted over to almost exclusively use Apple TV. The feedback we got with Amazon, Roku, and even Google a little bit is it's a very busy interface. There's a lot going on. I mean, if I look at Amazon right here, it's kind of overwhelming to me. Like your apps are this tiny little sliver, and the rest is a lot of ads for maybe things maybe you don't care about. I don't know. Um, Roku started to put a little bit more ad focused. Um, Same with Google, and Apple seems to be the cleanest, just again, like your phone or iPad. Any questions on streaming devices or truly anything that we've covered so far?
Yeah, we have a question. So someone is asking, do we need a device for each TV or can one be shared?
Yes, so you would need a device per TV. You can't take one Apple TV, for example, and then broadcast it to multiple TVs. And you can't do that with like any one of these. A great question. Okay, so we're done with the hardware. We have internet service, our Wi-Fi system, and our streaming devices. Now it's time to talk about all the services that are out there so we can watch all our favorite content. So the first type of streaming service that many of you are probably familiar with is on-demand streaming. So the content, it's all pre-recorded. It's available immediately at any time. You sign up and create these accounts online. You pay for them monthly. There's no contracts. They all have very similar features. You can make, favorite lists. You can search, play, fast forward, rewind, all that. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of services out there. These are some of the most popular ones, especially the ones that most of our customers tend to have, um, as well as their price points. And then streams. This is how many people can use the same service at the same time. So they limit this a little bit, and sometimes there's household restrictions. But to call out a few, Apple TV Plus, as I mentioned, this is Apple's streaming service, not to be confused with their streaming device. Disney Plus, that's where you got Marvel and Disney and Pixar and Star Wars, that Lucasfilms, that library has just continued to grow and grow and grow. Netflix certainly been the juggernaut for pretty much since 2008, 2009. They really are the king of streaming, and they're starting to have more live content as well. Um, Prime Video, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get access to Prime Video in that subscription, which Prime Video app can run on pretty much any device. Showtime and Max, you can get these separate as separate standalone services. You do not have to bundle them with your internet provider anymore. And then Paramount Plus and Paramount Plus, Peacock, Hulu, Discovery, they've been around for a while as well and have a lot of content. So the nice thing about all these services is you can try them out, give them a whirl, and then really cancel at any time. Okay, so finally we've made it to live TV streaming. This is what makes cord cutting actually possible, is now all these services can deliver live TV with channel guides and DVR capabilities and searching and on demand and everything you're used to from cable and satellite, but over the internet. That's what makes this possible. That's what makes it where you can save a ton of money, but without compromising on the quality of not having everything you're looking for, missing channels, missing DVR capabilities. These services, they're live TV channels. Again, you sign up and create an account online. You pay for them monthly. There's no contracts. These are the major providers out there: Friendly, Philo, Sling, Hulu, plus Live TV, YouTube TV, Fubo, and DirecTV Stream. As you can see, the price is a little bit higher because they're doing live TV, so you have all these networks baked in. Number of streams, each of these have a limit on how many people can use the service at the same time. DVR capabilities, these services are great. All your recordings are stored in the cloud. You can watch them from any time, from anywhere on any device, phone, tablet, TV, wherever. And most of these services do have local channels. I will give a shout out to YouTube TV. Uh, we're not paid by YouTube TV or affiliated with them officially in any way, shape, or form. Over time, just like with the devices, just like with the Wi-Fi system, we've sampled all these services. We have customers with all these services. Over time, we looked at our own data and said, okay, the service that most of our customers use is YouTube TV and has the least amount of issues reported to us. So now we almost exclusively recommend YouTube TV nationwide. So outside of Mount Prospect or Marshmallow, YouTube is the number one streaming provider. They have over 5 million subscribers, and the number one is Comcast. Number two is another cable company, and YouTube is number three for pay TV providers. So they are growing and succeeding. And again, I can't recommend it more. So the question here is, what's the best service for you? You can certainly look at price, streams. Most of them are doing unlimited DVR, but it really comes down to channels. The nice thing about these services, I think, do significantly better than cable companies or satellite TV companies is they are very transparent in pricing on what you get for what you pay for. So how do you look for services? Let me move this really quick. There's a couple ways. The first is you can just go to each of these websites individually and put in your zip code and see what they offer. So if I go to tv.youtube.com, oops, that's YouTube TV's website. I go in, basically gives you very transparent on the information. They're, limited time offer, 2 months. I come down here. If I put in I'll just put in Mount Prospect zip code, but it's all the same for Chicagoland. I click submit. Right away, it tells you exactly what you're getting for that price. If I go here to locals, as you can see, you got ABC7, CBS, Fox, PBS, Channel 5, The U, and WGN, CW, and WTTW. Sports, great collection: ACC, Big Ten, CBS, ESPN's, Fox, FS1, Golf Channel, NBA, NFL Network, and then the NBC Sports channels and SEC Network. News, pretty much all the heavy hitters, BBC, CNN, Fox, Fox Business, Local Now, and NBC News Now. Go in here. Lifestyle, get your AMC, your Bravo, your FX, HGTV, MTV, excuse me, QVC Network, TNT, USA, all pretty much all the major ones, Turner Classic. Family channels, for the kids, Animal Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Smithsonian, and then plenty of add-ons and things like NFL Red Zone and stuff like that that you can add on. I'll go to another one. If I'll go to Hulu Live TV. You're going to see something similar. Go to their website, view channels in your area. I type in Mount Prospect zip code. Same thing. Sports channels, a lot more the same. Live local channels, your entertainment channels, Food Network, HGTV, a lot of the big ones, History Channel, TNT, USA. Family channels, movie channels like Hallmark, TCM, news channels, and then premium add-ons that you can add on as well. Now, going to all these services individually to their websites can be a little daunting. There's a website that I love to use. It's called thestreamable.com/matchmaker, or they have this tool called Matchmaker. If I go here, they built this nice comparison tool. So I can go right in here and I can type in my favorite channels. So if I start with the locals, CBS, PBS, Fox, do the major news channels, um, do some Hallmark, HGTV, Turner Classic Movies, some sports. Again, I can just punch in. If you have a list, you can just like, start jumping in there. Um, Big Ten, it's probably about good there. As I punch this in, it starts to generate a nice comparison chart. And if I scroll down here, here's all the channels I put in. And it'll show you all these services and all the different packages they have. So you see DirecTV has a ton of different packages. Fubo, 4 packages. Hulu, they got 3 packages. Philo, Sling, and then YouTube has their 1 package. So you can see here, in this case, Hulu and YouTube are going to have everything you need, really. And then this other nice tool down here just shows kind of like the top channels that most people search for, look for, and then you can see which of these stations have that. So I found to be one of my favorite matching tools out on the web right now, and what I would recommend using. We have a few more slides, couple more slides. Any questions so far, Ben?
Yeah, there's a few questions. Number one is why is there a range of prices for Netflix or other streaming services?
Yeah, good question. So let me bring it up here. So basically it comes down to features at the end of the day and sometimes number of streams. So we will focus on Netflix. Actually, let me actually just looked at this today. So you can see here's their 3 tiers. For $7.99 a month, it's standard with ads. So you're going to see ads, right? Standard with no ads. So you won't see any ads. You got to pay a little bit extra, $17.99. And premium, where there's no ads and 4K, so which is like, so 1080p was HD, and then 4K is 4 times that, $24.99 a month. So what all these services have is typically the more your money you're paying, you're going to pay for less or no ads. Maybe you're going to pay for uh, a better picture quality. You're going to pay for maybe if you want to be able to share it with more people, or just access to more content. That's basically what happens when you have price ranges with all these services. So it's like more users, more content, better quality, or little to no ads at the end of the day. A good question.
Great. And then someone is asking if the age of an existing TV factors into making the jump to cutting the cord, and if you have any preferred brands of smart TVs.
So age, not necessarily. I'll go back here. So let's bring this up. Technically, as long as the TV is like older than 2006, 7, it has an HDMI port on it, you can plug in one of these devices, and all of a sudden it's a smart TV because it's using this device. So age isn't too big of a factor. Um, and then as far as smart TVs or TVs in general, I tend to stick with Sony and Samsung. Uh, for me personally, and just what I've seen across my customer base in the industry, they have the best track record in terms of performance reliability. Not that they aren't without their issues. I've seen plenty of those, but I've seen way more with like the LGs, the Vizios, and just other lower tier brands. So I stick with Samsung or Sony. Uh, I would avoid the if you see that insanely good deal, that 65-inch TV that's like $300 at Costco, I generally would avoid it. I've seen too many of those TVs go bad, and then that's how sometimes we get business is they say that I bought this TV from Costco or Best Buy or whatever, and then we put in a you know a little bit higher end TV. Um, so I just want to go cheap on the TV if you don't want to replace it within 5 years. Probably the best way I could put it.
Great. And then I think someone's curious if you could check if CBS is available on any live TV services.
Oh yeah, I put that one in. So CBS is available across certain direct TV, pretty much everything except like Philo and Sling. So you get it with YouTube, you get it with Fubo and DirecTV. It's pretty readily available. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. So once you know which services you want or that you're already subscribed to, you subscribe to them. You go online, you create your accounts, put in your payment information. Then you download those apps onto your devices. So these can be your streaming devices, your phones, your tablets, really anywhere you want to watch that content. And then you open those apps and enjoy all the content available to you. I want to go through one real world scenario. And this is, I mean, it's a specific scenario, but it's also a scenario that, plus or minus a few dollars we encounter every day that we're working with our customers. So before working, before streaming, they were paying $250 a month for internet and cable TV. So diving into a solution, they did 300 megabits per second, and the monthly cost was $45 a month. They got a good contract in place, no upfront costs because it was just internet service they already had. Wi-Fi system, 500 bucks plus a modem, but no monthly cost. Remember, when you rent, you're paying 15, 20, $25 a month to rent. We don't have to when you own your own. They've owned two Apple TV devices. That's $298. No monthly cost to having your own equipment. And then you have your streaming service. They've owned YouTube TV, $82.99 a month. So totaled out, you got $857.10, including taxes. And is that that actually should be 137. My apologies. $137.99 a month. No, I'm sorry. No, at all. $127.99 a month. My math was off. Um, so that's a monthly savings of $122, almost cutting the bill in half. So monthly bill decreased 48%. Excuse me. And the payback period is just a little under 7 months, or a little over 7 months. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you, Ben and the Mount Prospect Library, for hosting. Here's all of our contact information. You can visit us at marshmallowstreaming.com. If you have questions or you want a copy of the slides, go ahead and email us at info@marshmallowstreaming.com. And then if you are interested in working with us, you can also visit that link, thecalendly.com/marshmallowstreaming. And you can book a consultation right with us. I'll stick around for any and all questions, I can go back to any slides as needed, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Feel free to put your questions in the chat if anyone has any more. You are getting praise in the chat, so thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we have a question. Someone is asking, what's the longest range for an OTA antenna?
Yeah, I truly don't know. Um, I guess it's more of a matter of, um, is the signal strong to your home, from the towers wherever they're at? And if it is, um, you can the antenna should be able to pick it up. And I recommend putting it near a window or up in the attic, and then you have to run the cable to the TV. But that's just a tough question to ask. I don't know.
Thanks. Okay, we have a few more questions, and I think I'll end the meeting. But someone is asking just what is the best internet service?
Sure. So let me just go back to that slide so everybody can see. So in my experience, AT&T fiber is the best of the best. Um, they don't really play any games. They give you unlimited data. They give you their modem, but they don't charge you to rent the modem. It can work with Eros or third-party routers. They don't do tricks with contracts or promotions or anything like that. They just lock in your price, and it's very favorable. Um, the other thing to keep in mind, notice the download speeds are very fast, but the upload speeds are equally as fast. That's a benefit of fiber. When you have cable or these other ones, the upload speeds, as you notice, like are relatively slow compared to the capabilities of the download speeds. So, and I've had great experiences with AT&T doing their installs. They, um, the installers follow very rigorous protocol procedures for installing, documenting their work. So I do find that's the best. And second being Xfinity, they are still very good. But I think AT&T Fiber goes above and beyond.
Great. Thanks. And someone is asking for live TV with a smart TV, can you skip paying a monthly fee slash service provider and just switch over to antenna use?
Yeah, almost all TVs still to this day they have a antenna port on them, that you can use, plug in, and it just when you plug it in, the TV will scan for channels, over the air channels to see what you can pick up, and then go from there.
Great. Someone is asking, can you use multiple services like Hulu and YouTube?
Oh yeah, you can combine as many of these services as you want. I wouldn't recommend I wouldn't recommend doing like Hulu Live TV and YouTube TV because you'd be paying a ton of money for a lot of overlapping content. But if you want to have a bunch of these on-demand services combined with one of these, you certainly can.
Okay, someone is asking, as an example, if you have Netflix and you buy new equipment and then cut the cord, do you then have to register your service? Which I'm assuming, they're asking if you have to register Netflix again after you cut the cord.
No, you don't have to like re-register or re-sign up. You just on your new equipment, you just download the Netflix app and sign in. So it's not like registering for a new account. You're just signing into your existing account on the new device.
Someone is asking if you have any thoughts on DECO as a mesh system.
Um, I don't. Oh, that's the TP link. I don't know. Short answer. Sorry. Oh, TP Link Deco. Yeah, that's TP Link, I guess. I haven't really. I've only had one customer way back in the day that used it. I mean, it worked fine, but I pretty much stick with the Euro.
Great. And someone is asking if you use fiber, do you need special equipment?
Um, you need you need a fiber modem. So I'll go back here. You need a fiber modem, and at least in the Chicagoland area, every fiber provider I've worked with, they give you the modem. So it's not like something you have to worry about getting yourself. And that's probably better anyways that they give you the modem. So like AT&T, you use their modem. But you can always use your own third-party router and other third-party devices with that fiber modem.
Okay, I think that is all the questions we have. So thank you again, George, for doing this, and thank you everyone for coming. This was a great lesson. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great time.